Hi, welcome again to Migrant Voices. In our previous episode, we brought you a story from A, who lives in Copenhagen. Today, we travel all the way to UK to bring you a story from Eve, who has shared her very first day at work in the UK. So, this is how it goes. I can still remember my first month in the UK. It was a dream come true when I got my visa to travel to the UK. I was beyond excited to pursue greener pastures and to make something out of my life. I actually have a whole story on how I struggled to get the UK visa, but that is not the story I want to share today. I want to talk about my first day at work, my first job outside Ghana, my first real step into the life I had dreamed about for so long from so far away. Just days earlier, I had landed in the UK, excited, yet very, very nervous. My heart was filled with so many questions. Some were very hopeful, but most of them were nervous ones. Would I make it? Would I belong? Would I be successful? Will my children be successful here? I was fortunate enough to have a family I could lean on, but I was not prepared for the journey of navigating life as a foreigner. The morning of my first day at work, I had just one job: to get to the care home on time. I didn't want that tag Ghanaman time. They told me exactly what time the bus would come, but I got there 1 minute late. But here in the UK, 1 minute mattered, but I didn't know that. As I approached the bus stop, I watched the bus drive away without me. My heart sank. What would the people think of me? Would they think I was careless? Would I be fired from my work even before I started? So, instinctively, I decided to run. I was running to the next stop, probably to catch the bus. And then something happened. Something that I got to know later that it really happens in the UK. The bus stopped in the middle of the road. Maybe the driver must have seen me running. Maybe he recognized that desperate look in my eyes. And in that small moment, he chose to stop. He opened the door and let me in. You know, this was a very tiny gesture, but to me, it meant everything. He didn't just save me from being late. He reminded me that there was kindness in this place too, that even when everything is brand new and hard, grace still exists. Then I got to the care home. The care home was not what I had imagined at all. In Ghana, work had structure, but it also had softness. You could talk with your colleagues, laugh in between tasks, you could breathe and make fun. But here in the UK, shifts were 12 hours, and it meant real 12 hours. No leaning against the wall, no chatting at the sink, no slowing down, just constant movement, and that shocked me. It felt like I had been thrown into a current and expected to swim without learning how. And I didn't even know how to swim in that current. I didn't know the routine. I didn't know the names of the equipment. When someone said, "Bring the sling," I just stared blankly. When they told me to adjust the hoist, I just panicked because I didn't even know. Because tell you the truth, I wasn't a nurse in Ghana. I just got the visa to come and work in the care home. But I didn't also want to mess this opportunity up because my kids were relying on me. That was not even the worst part. The worst part was the language. I spoke English. I was taught English in school back home. But here the accents were strange. It felt like they were speaking tongues. It was something entirely different. I could barely understand them. Every instruction sounded like a puzzle. I was afraid to even ask twice because when they repeated, I still couldn't understand. I always felt stupid asking the question again. So I smiled even though I didn't understand. I just nodded, smiled, and guessed what they meant. The language was a real problem for me. It made me feel for a second like an outsider, even though I had grown up speaking and learning English. Then came the lunch break. I opened the container I had packed my food from home with jollof rice, spicy shito, and fried chicken. Then a woman walked past me, leaned over and said, "Oh my God, that's a lot." She wasn't rude, she was just surprised. But in that moment, I felt so funny. I didn't even know what to say, because back in Ghana, that was just our lunch. A normal bowl of rice or wachi and some chicken. But here, people ate what looked like one scoop of rice and a few tiny vegetables on the side. I suddenly felt like that was too much. Like I didn't just sound different. I looked different, ate different, was very different. For a moment, I felt ashamed. But then I remembered who I was, where I came from, what I came from, and what I want to achieve. And so I decided to rebuild everything and start slowly. So I began to adapt. I learned how to pronounce things the way they did. I memorized the names of equipment. I figured out how to read maps, plan my bus routes, connect to trains, and get to work without getting lost. I stopped pretending when I didn't understand what they were saying. I started asking, and I started understanding. I laughed more, connected more. I began to build joy in little moments, like someone explaining something kindly, a shared smile in the break room, a joke I could finally understand. I still miss home, and I always will. But I began to see something else. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was changing. I was growing. I was becoming myself again, stronger, wiser, and more integrated. Each story is one we often overlook. It is quiet. It is ordinary. But that's what makes it extraordinary. Because the kind of courage she shows is not loud. It doesn't demand applause, but it is real. It is waking up in a place that feels nothing like home and choose to keep going. It's learning to speak a familiar language in an unfamiliar way. It is bringing your rice to work even when others don't understand. It is missing the bus and still showing up. That is bravery. Starting over takes more than strength. It takes surrender. Surrendering control. Letting go of things that you used to know. Making space for something new, something uncertain. And that kind of change, it shakes us, but it also shapes us. Eve's journey reminds us that every small decision matters. To ask, to try again, to stay, to hold on to who you are, even as we stretch into becoming new persons. So to every migrant building a new life in a foreign land, this is your reminder. You are not invisible. You are not too much, and your story matters. What did you think about this story? Did it resonate with you? Let us know. Send us a comment. If you also have a story to share, please send us an email and we will gladly share it. This is Migrant Voices, where every journey tells a story.
Migrant Voices.